What would you do if the people closest to your love branded you a fraud, only to discover a truth that turned their world upside down? I met Emily at a small bookstore in Brooklyn, where the smell of old pages and coffee lingered like a warm embrace. She was thumbing through a worn copy of Pride and Prejudice, her laughter soft as she read a line aloud to herself. I couldn't help but smile, a stranger captivated by her quiet joy. We talked for hours that day, our words weaving a fragile thread between us. Months later, that thread became love, strong and unyielding. But love, as I learned, doesn't shield you from judgment. Emily's family was old money, the kind that whispered of generational wealth in their sprawling Connecticut estate. Her parents, Clara and Edward, wore their privilege like a second skin, their smiles polite but sharp. Her brother, James, was worse. His smirks carried the weight of unspoken accusations. From the moment Emily introduced me, I felt their eyes dissecting me. I wasn't one of them. My clothes were neat but modest, my job as a freelance consultant vague enough to raise eyebrows. "What exactly do you do?" James asked at our first dinner, his tone dripping with skepticism. Clara's tight smile echoed his doubt. They didn't say it outright, not then, but I felt the word forming in their minds. Gold digger. Emily, bless her heart, never saw me that way. She loved my stories, my dreams, the way I'd sketch ideas on napkins during late-night diner runs. But her family's whispers grew louder. At a holiday party, I overheard James mutter to a cousin, "He's after her trust fund, mark my words." Clara's pointed questions about my finances followed, each one a needle prick. Edward's silence was louder than words, his gaze cold as he sized me up. I swallowed my pride for Emily's sake, but the weight of their disdain pressed harder each day. The breaking point came at their annual gala, a glittering affair where champagne flowed and egos sparkled brighter than the chandeliers. Emily and I had just gotten engaged, our joy raw and radiant. But as we entered the ballroom, James cornered me. "You think you've hit the jackpot, don't you?" he sneered, loud enough for heads to turn. "Marrying into money must feel like a dream for someone like you." The room seemed to still, eyes pinning me like a specimen. Clara and Edward stood nearby, their silence a tacit agreement. I could have lashed out, but Emily's hand in mine anchored me. I smiled, said nothing, and walked away. The truth came out a month later, at a family dinner meant to smooth things over. Clara, ever the diplomat, suggested I share more about my background to ease their concerns. Emily squeezed my hand under the table, her eyes pleading for peace. I took a breath and began. "I own a few things you might not expect," I said, my voice steady. "A tech startup I founded in college, sold for $50 million. A real estate portfolio across 3 states. And a nonprofit that's built schools in 12 countries." The room went silent, forks frozen midair. James's smirk vanished. Clara's wineglass trembled. Edward's stoic mask cracked, his eyes wide. "I don't talk about it," I continued, "because it's not who I am. I love Emily for her heart, not her name. Can you say the same about how you've judged me?" The air felt thick, their assumptions crumbling like sandcastles. I pulled out my phone, showing them a photo of a school in Kenya, kids beaming as they held books I'd funded. Then, a news article about my startup sale, my name in bold. Emily's eyes shimmered with pride, but her family's faces were a gallery of shock and shame. James stammered, "Why didn't you say anything?" I leaned forward. "Because I shouldn't have to. You decided who I was before you knew me." That night changed everything. Clara apologized, her voice small. Edward offered a handshake, his grip firm but humbled. James avoided my gaze, his bravado gone. But the real victory wasn't their regret, it was Emily's unwavering faith in me. She'd never doubted, never wavered, even when her world tried to tear us apart. We married 6 months later, in a quiet ceremony by the sea. Her family was there, their warmth genuine now, but it was Emily's smile that filled my heart. Wealth can buy many things, but love, true, unyielding love, demands something deeper. It demands trust, not judgment. It demands seeing someone for who they are, not what you fear they might be. And in that, I found my truest fortune.